Welcome, Capricorn, to your Capricorn December 2020 tarot reading. I'm Nigel Saint James. Now look, if you would like to have a private clairvoyant reading with me, then just check out the information that is in the description box below. But now I'm going to take 5 cards, and more particularly I think 5 cards are going to take me. Oh, by the way, there will be an annual reading published on the day before Thanksgiving in the afternoon, about 2 o'clock US Eastern Time, I think. So set your subscribe button or look on the playlist, whatever takes your fancy. Now, let's have a look and see what 5 cards are there for you, Capricorn, for December 2020. There's the 8 of Wands, and why not? There's the Chariot. Taking them all off the top here. There's the Healer of Discs, so why don't I take some from the bottom? There's the 2 of Discs, and finally, gee, they're coming through quickly. Which one of these shall we take? Let's take this one. And that is the 1 of Discs. It doesn't get any better than that for you. Lots of earth here for you, lots of moving forward. Come and have a look at the imagery on these cards with me while I do the reading for you. Now, next month's reading will be published on Wednesday, the 9th of December at 2 p.m. US Eastern Time. These cards are inviting a very spiritual sort of a reading for you, I think. So let's see where it takes us, shall we? This is the 8 of Wands, called Dream Time. Well, Dream Time. Let's have a look at this 8 of Wands here. Well, the painting is from an aerial perspective, really, isn't it? A woman is flying, journeying in the astral body. She is aware of her light, as well as the light of Source. Now, this card, I think, is a reminder that there are whole universes out there that are actually in here, waiting for you to explore. Do you know, one of the central truths about, well, let me back up and say this. The Suit of Wands deals more specifically, in my view, in this context, with this sort of energy, with the spiritual dimensions. And this card here and this energy can refer to travel on the inner planes, I think. Now, there are numerous names for these planes, depending on the tradition and their geography. And these include astral plane, a spirit world, heaven, and dream time. And dream time is particularly resonant for me because it has a connection, because I have a connection with Australia, and dream time is very important for the indigenous Australian people, the Aborigines of Australia. Anyway, all these places can include the various realms that we journey to in our sleep. Now, one of the central truths about traveling in these realms is that energy follows thought. Now, people who have explored astral projection and out-of-body experiences report that just thinking of a person or place propels them there. Now, there's a lot of spiritual work to go through before you do that, so it's not going to happen if you feel like smoking a joint or something. Not that you ever would, I'm not suggesting that. But this is similar to what happens in lucid dreaming, though. Similar to what happens in near-death experiences. And some of the bardos, or the in-between states that are described in Buddhist thought. Now, while the notion of dream time involves this sense that the invisible realms affect and bring into creation the manifest world that we see around us. Now, you may notice that when you resolve something in a dream, it affects you more conscious and concrete experiences as well. Now, these inner worlds are more accessible than we often imagine, however. Now, there are some people who think that we just lift off every night, traveling in our astral bodies into the various unseen realms. I'm pretty skeptical of that myself. I think there's quite a degree of thought and discipline that's necessary for that to happen. Now, although there are some people who are conscious of these interdimensional vacations, I suppose I'd call them, most people, of course, are not. However, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because it's good to remember that not all the energies in these other realms are good, just by virtue of being non-material, if you like. They want to cling to life. And some of the energies that inhabit these extended realms of reality are not at all refined. So you should be aware that these darker energies are attracted also by fear. Now, whether astral traveling or going through the bardos at death, the clearer you are, the more you can bypass these energies and go straight to the light. Now, the astrology of this card is Mercury ruling the first decan of Sagittarius. Mercury is the planet of communication, and Sagittarius has the swiftness of the arrow, and I think that this is going to produce in you at this time a restless intellect. You will be overcoming obstacles. Events are going to be moving fast. Blockages are going to be removed. And opportunities, I think, are going to be coming to you and arriving quickly. This is very much a strike while the iron is hot energy. And you should understand that you are now in a position to transform any situation, problem, or obstacle by taking fast action with direct communication to resolve it. And it highlights, I think, the need for clear communications to manifest the things that you want to have happen in your life. You can expect to be busy, I think, as it's got a lot of energy propelling you forward, and I think you're going to sort out and complete projects quickly. But what's important for you to do is to determine where your energy is going to be directed. Look, the moment has come for you to define where you stand. If you are open and remain centered, misunderstandings will be cleared. Is there anyone to whom you do not dare to openly state where you stand? Use this time to open yourself up more to those people who mean something to you. Talk to them. Tell them you value their friendship or that you love them. And say this to yourself: my openness and self-confidence opens the hearts of those I love. Now, you have a couple of standard of living cards down here for you, and you've got the one of discs. You look at the healer of discs, the one of discs, the two. We'll do the one of discs first, and then we'll do the two. Makes sense, doesn't it? Let's have a look at this. Wow, this is a interesting painting. What's it called, incidentally? Birth into Form. Well, that's probably very apt. Well, what do I get from it, though? That's more important to me. Now, the meaning of the one of discs is clear. If you remember that the suit of discs here actually, at least in this spread today for you, I think, represents the material world, and one is the number of beginnings. The one of discs is, therefore, about new beginnings in the concrete world of daily life. And the egg is the perfect symbol for it. The egg includes both the seed of the new form and the nourishment that supports its development. Now, I think this is indicating the beginning of a new pattern in your life, or the need to clear the space for one. This is a good time to deep clean your home, let go of things you no longer need, if you can, and take stock of current relationships and activities. Perhaps, you're at the point of choosing a new living environment, or a new job, or a new routine, or some other form. New beginnings, they are important, and your readiness sets the stage for them to thrive. Now, if you don't have a clear sense of what new manifestation wants to come into your life, you could try this. And visualize this at night before you go to sleep. Imagine a warm, dark space full of energy of new possibilities. The space itself has a holding quality, and, as you focus more carefully, a nest comes into view. In this nest is an egg with new life growing in it. Watch as this new life goes through its stages, eventually cracking open its shell and revealing itself. And you'll see what it is that is manifesting. But there is really something that needs to be said in relation to this, because it's so on point for you, I think, at the moment, and it is this, that there is nothing you cannot be, there is nothing you cannot do, there is nothing you cannot have. You are the most magnificent, the most remarkable, the most splendid being God has ever created. For who could reject such wondrous magnificence? But you do not know who you are, and you think you are a great deal less. You are your own rule maker, and you are the only one who can assess how you are doing. All you see in the world is your idea about it. Life will take off for you when you choose for it to. An idea becomes a thought becomes a word. Say it out loud, words have power, and they echo all throughout eternity. A word becomes an action. And if you are going to do it, start, and then go all the way. Do it, do it, do it. Seize the opportunity which is in front of you now. Rejoice in it, and let no power on earth take it from you. Well, let's have a look at the two now, shall we? These things actually are called proteas. They're native to South Africa. The South African members of the audience will understand it, but look. And hi, how are you? Hello to all my friends there and subscribers. Clients who've had readings with me, good to see you. You know I love you. I love all of you. Now this is balance in material life, 2 of discs. Balance is a dynamic, ever-changing state, isn't it? It's not a stationary position. Now I think that this is depicted in this painting in the flowing energy that's all over the canvas there. Having dropped her work and household roles for a day, a woman lies naked on the earth and replenishing herself by the water. The intimate contact with nature restores her so that she can go back and be effective in her world. She understands the need to balance and to balance the competing demands in her life. Now, the dual nature of the card is, I think, represented in the various pairs of animals that you can see depicted within it. In one set of birds, the images overlap and face opposite directions, don't they? In that way and that way. Do you know, the fish here also create a yin-yang symbol, really. So these little fish down here, the yin and the yang, the feminine, the masculine, the dynamic dance of polarity. So it's a good time, I think, now for you to look at balance in your life. Do you tend to get stuck in work mode so that you can't let down? Do you get lost in play and find it difficult to motivate yourself to work? How do you feed your senses? Do you have intimate contact with Earth and the natural world? It is so important. We are part of nature. We are part of the universe. We're not separate to it. And how do you honor your natural rhythms of rest and activity, and your body's need for food, for touch and contact? Finding balance is not something you do with your planning mind so much as a moment-to-moment experience of being in touch with your skill, with yourself. And maybe, I suppose, sometimes it takes a bit of practice to get things happening in that way. But what there also is here is, there is some change coming along, you know, and the reason is because I have Jupiter ruling the first decan of, ta-da, Capricorn. The 23rd of December to the 2nd of January. This is harmonious change here. Jupiter ruling Capricorn. Well, although this is potentially inharmonious because Jupiter is all about expansion, and Capricorn can be, you have to admit, sometimes about conservatism and practicality. But because we're so high up on the tree here, we're in the 2 and we're just next to the ace, there's no problem here, I don't think. But what we have here is change and transformation. I think that this is also saying to you that this is the time during this month where you just get on and go for the ride. No revolutions. You've got to learn to go with the flow and trust in the process of change so that you can find harmony and balance. Now, there's nothing financially or materially set in stone at the moment. And this is also reminding you to make sure that your day-to-day affairs are in order. This is a card of very good management of your practical affairs and finances. Now, I know it sounds like a bit of a bore, but getting on top of bills and chores is as important as pursuing more enjoyable activities. Do you know, your life is subject to a constant change which allows you to grow, extending and expanding with you, ultimately enriching you. Give yourself up to the transformation with trust. What internal or external changes are going on in your life? Where are you still clinging? Say this to yourself at this time. I trust in the harmony of my life and in the flow of my life. I trust it because every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. Well, let's continue with the discs theme that we're on, shall we? All about standard living in many respects. And what's this one? Is that in focus for you? Can you see that? It's called, incidentally, Healing the Planet. No doubt. Well, this is the healer of discs. Now, in the painting here, we can see the planet Earth rising over the horizon. Seeing the sparkling blue jewel we live on seems to elicit tremendous awe and gratitude. Just as it did, I suppose, for the astronauts. Now, there are dolphins not only in the oceans, but also in the night sky, suggesting that dolphins may well be present in other dimensions. This card can be used as an invitation to invoke this consciousness. What this is also saying to me is that I think that you will at this time be quite ambitious, affectionate and kind, charming, practical, quiet, and very good at doing things around the home or around the garden. There's a lot of Capricorn in this, you know, and I think Sagittarius is going to be important to you as well. I think it's a time for you to, you know how this card earlier was talking about going with the flow of things, this one here, going with the flow, getting on board and going for the ride. This is, I think, saying that although you are ambitious, this is a time for you to work with instinct and intuition rather than intellect. Be hardworking and practical and sensible. Now, I think during this time, I'm getting this feeling here that, well, it may be you or it may be someone that you know, but often the energy I'm getting up here represents someone who possesses the finest of the quieter qualities, and someone who can, in a reticent and unassuming way, actually be quite lusty and sexy, and can sometimes get into the drink. This is about physical nourishment and fruitfulness. People are going to find you very attractive during this period. An emphasis here is also on health and diet and exercise, so keep that in mind. And I'd say go forward without an overt attack upon existing situations. I think you have in the past come through something of an arid stretch, haven't you, on your journey? And I think that now what's happening is you're arriving at more fruitful surroundings. Now you can rest and devote some attention to yourself and to your physical needs. And maybe ask yourself, in what ways have you neglected your body, your outer self? Do you indulge yourself too much? I mean, I'm not against indulgence at all, good God no, but not every day. Every second day maybe, but... So devote more attention to your health and physical beauty than you have before now. Not that you need it. I mean, you are an attractive person. And in fact, the Capricorn woman, my God, I am powerless when it comes to Capricorn women. They are the most beautiful creatures. But don't rest on your laurels, I think this is what this is saying, and make sure you keep up that A game. Well, then that takes us finally to this card saying Agent of Change, the Chariot. Well, a lot of Cancer around here, as you probably can gather. So emotions are going to be quite important to you, I think, during this period. But I will say this, that I'm looking at the painting. Now, the Chariot is drawn by a horse, clearly, and this can be seen as harnessing your power and the energy in your body. The Chariot is like a magic vehicle in which the woman is riding through the heavens in tune with her destiny. Now, I use this as a reminder that although the task you are involved in may seem very ordinary, it can also be part of your great unfoldment. Change is all around you, but often that change is not of your doing, isn't it? And in the Chariot, though, you are the agent of change. And I think that this represents you taking the reins in your own hands, harnessing your personal will and getting things done. The image represents charging ahead, but I think doing so in a more feminine way. Often, you know, we often charge ahead. We kind of do so with blinders on, those things that horses wear across their eyes, ignoring everything that is not on our agenda. In our haste to get things done, we run into obstacles because we are not being fully sensitive to the moment, or to our needs, or to others. We can lose contact with the larger harmony and the larger flow. Now, in this more feminine model, we stay in touch with these things. You can use your knowledge of natural cycles and honor the times when your energy ebbs, symbolized, I think, here by this dark moon. See it? There it is. I think part of the wisdom of success is taking days off when you need them. This doesn't necessarily mean that you lose your focus, but you soften it. You rest while holding the focus. You understand that there are times for resting, times for plodding, and times for charging ahead, and you must honor all three. You also don't ignore the rest of your life just because you're concentrated on a goal. You got to, as this was saying, remember the need for balance. This is an energy here for you which is very much talking of victory over adversity. You've come through a difficult period now and you're going to overcome it. It's about triumph in the face of adversity, overcoming problems, and obtaining success with little or no support. Could also mean you come to the aid of somebody else. This is also about having the courage to act, which is important. It's all very well to have the idea, but without the courage, it's pointless. And it could also signify, I think, for you success over previous negative patterns. You know what they are. And I think there could also be here for you a focus on self-discipline. Moving towards higher ground is what I see for you. The oncoming change promises to lead to a positive phase in your life. Ready yourself. Put your affairs in order. Examine the possibilities. I think you're going to leave a lot behind. What area of your life will be changing? Are you ready to ring out the old and ring in the new? Seek or create for yourself a loving, secure environment. There you can plan the change or journey. Your body also needs attention and activity now. And say this to yourself. I am putting my life in order and preparing for the new. I motivate others positively. I am responsible for what I cause, and I accomplish things well and with ease. And that is such a great card session for you. I loved doing that. Great energy. Well done, Capricorn. That's the way it is for you this month. Well, I thought that was going to be good, and it was. I hope you enjoyed that reading as much as I did providing it to you. Now, don't forget, make sure you check out your 2021 annual reading. If you're a subscriber, of course, it's delivered into your subscription box, or just have a look at the playlist that's on the channel. It's being published the day before Thanksgiving in the afternoon, US Eastern Time. But look, remember one thing always, and it is this, that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, it's bye for now.